It's Tuesday and it's time for Falcon Focus. Welcome to Falcon Focus, episode number 7 here in season number 5. We're back this week and happy to have you with us. On this week's edition, our focus in segment number 2, we'll talk with a senior goaltender and assistant captain, that being Annalena Van Herky, as the women's hockey team is coming off a great NCHA victory and knocking off Aurora in overtime on Saturday. And they have a big week ahead, as does women's volleyball. We talk women's volleyball first in our first segment, being joined by sophomore outside hitter Stella Zarling. My name is Matt Metal. Thanks for joining us. And Stella, thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
And
of course.
big night tonight.
Yes,
the NAC
very
tournament,
big night.
NAC tournament gets started with a quarterfinal matchup against the Lakeland University Muskies at 7. How excited are you to finally get the NAC tournament started?
Oh, I'm very excited. I feel like this is kind of what we've been working towards all season and why we've been playing such hard teams pre-conference. So I'm pretty excited to get it all into the works and just go full speed ahead and let's take this conference tournament championship.
Yeah,
So-
a very challenging non-conference slate here, and the team finishing 14-13 overall, which I think is remarkable considering the non-conference test you guys have gone through. 9-4 in conference play. Regardless of wins and losses, how do you feel the team's playing right now?
I think there's always room for improvement. I mean, we're definitely not playing our best, and I think that's one of those things that we've kind of struggled through, but there's a lot of good things to look at, like things how we've improved over season, like our blocking has just absolutely been amazing these past couple games, and I think just now rounding it out, now that we know how we can play, I think it's just bringing it up to that potential that we know we have.
Okay, the team has lost back-to-back in 3 of 4. When you look at those matchups, is there one or two areas you can point on and say, hey, if we just fix this, we'll be okay? Because you guys just, obviously, when you look at the scores, have been competitive.
I think a lot of it just goes both ways. Like, there's times where either our back row struggles and us offensively or as front row hitters, we can't really put the ball away for them to kind of release that pressure. And I think sometimes our front row struggles where our back row's really doing their job, but we just can't put the ball away for them. So I think it's like kind of on both ends of the spectrum, and it's just we need to just kind of hammer down on it and be like, okay, if they made an error, then we need to be the ones responsible to take that pressure off their back. And same goes that way. Like, if passers are passing good, just keep being consistent and just let them work it through. So
Take us inside that locker room. How do you guys stay upbeat? How do you stay motivated? How do you stay positive?
I think a lot of it is just having fun in practice. We get super competitive in practice, which really drives us through the roof sometimes, which is really awesome. But, like, on Sunday we had an open gym, and it was just so much fun. And our team of non-starters on the other side knows how to really pick up the energy in practice, and it's super fun to play on that side with them sometimes. So I think that really helps. Nobody's really exactly a Debbie Downer. I think it's just one of those things where it's either you flush it or you just sit on it, and we just need to flush it and just be ready to go full steam ahead this week. So.
And again, the beauty is tonight's a new night, so it can start all over again and start a run here toward the NAC Tournament Championship. You mentioned blocking's really picked it up. You know, when you look at the blocking ability of this team over the last couple of weeks or so, what would you say, though, at this point is the strength of this team? What's the identity?
Oh, that's a hard question.
Has it changed throughout the course of the year, in your opinion?
I think it has. I think in the beginning there was the beginning of stepping up for a lot of us who hadn't exactly been on the court yet. So we were still kind of finding that, like, Macy and Abby and Kenzie were kind of our, like, get this thing started, like, get this thing going, because they had the experience there. And so now at the end, I think it's kind of whoever is, like, I don't know how to put it. It's not like the hot hitter is the person, but I think it's just we need to find kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, really.
You're just trying to find that hot hand, that consistency.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we have an identity in one person. I think it's just
It's been a collection of people.
yeah,
that
a collection
up.
of people. Yeah, we all stepped up. Yeah, I don't know. That's just a hard question
Sure,
to answer, like, right off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
And I'm sure, like you said, it's probably changed throughout the course of the year because, as you mentioned, so many of the players on the team currently have taken on much bigger roles this year from that of last year, on top of a couple of players that are back that had major roles last season.
Yeah.
You look at this season, okay, is there a match? Is there a performance for you? Is there one, date that you look back at and go, hey, this defines the kind of team we can be, or I'm proud of this moment?
I think halfway through the season when we were playing at Calvin, we took a really big game against Platteville. And I think that was a huge turning point, realizing that we can go and play. And same with the Eau Claire tournament. We went and played Eau Claire, and we came back from a 5-set loss against Concordia Moorhead, and then we came and swept Eau Claire. And we were just all full steam ahead. Like, we were getting blocks, we were getting amazing kills, we were getting amazing digs. And I think that just really brought it all together where we know we can play and let's do this thing. So
how do you go about in a tournament, situation like that where you play multiple matches in a day? If you lose, how do you quickly, have that goldfish-like memory and forget about it and move on to the next match?
I think it's just you either want to win or lose. And, like, as a competitive person, I personally don't like to lose. So it's one of those things where you can either give energy to the team or you can suck. There's like a choice that has to be made. And at the end of the day, all of us want to win collectively and we want to play as a team. So let's just go crazy and let's have fun. At the end of the day, it's just let's have fun and let's just do it for each other rather than doing it for yourself.
Which, again, kind of goes back to trying to find that identity. It speaks volumes of this team, the character, to have that mental toughness after a loss to say, hey, we want to go out there and compete. Forget about what just happened. We are better than that.
Yeah.
As an outside hitter, obviously the big relationship is with the setter, working closely with your setter. In this case, it's mainly been Mackenzie Benter throughout the course, especially the second half of the season. How in sync have you two become?
I think she has gotten very good and a lot more aggressive offensively as a setter, which I personally really like. It's really fun to watch. And I think we've really connected on tempo where she knows where I like the ball, and it's just pretty consistent with that. So, which is really appreciative, and I think it goes both ways. Like, as a hitter, you have to be super communicative with your setter. So, like, keeping that open line back and forth, like, hey, I need this ball a little tighter. Hey, like, let's run some new offensive plays. Like, we've been adding some threes in there rather than just fours. So she's pushing me in a little bit farther into the court rather than keeping me outside, which has been fun because it allows it's a lot more confusing on the blocker. So if I'm coming in, then they don't really know where the middle's going, or having to keep the middle on the opposite side, really second-guessing.
When you say that she knows where I like the ball, did that take some time as far as, her placement? Did it take a few matches of just communicating with, hey, I like it set this way, or did it come naturally?
I think Kenzie naturally is a very quick offensive setter, which I personally am. Also, I naturally like a quick offense, so I think that definitely helped. But, I mean, just from having last year, just having, through practice, getting those sets in, hitting-wise, I think it was pretty easy considering she had played last year, not set too much. I think she did a really good job stepping into that setting role, so I think it was pretty easy all the way around.
For you, when it comes to kills, when it comes to the serve, when you look at the opposing defense, what are you looking for? What do you watch for as far as, the way they're set up for you to know where to place that ball?
A lot of the times I'm looking for seams in the block. A lot of time they don't really get out to the line, so my favorite spot is to hit that line. So if I can go there, I'm going to go there. But sometimes Abby behind me, my libero, she's talking to me behind, looking for open spots, which definitely helps. And a lot of the times, sometimes they float past, and that's where you can use the tool or you can hit it sharp cross. In the serve, I'm mostly just looking for the weakest passers. A lot of times, Kaylee knows what's up. She sees all that's going on out there. Or I look for what's going to where's a place that's going to make it hard for them to get there. So a lot of times, if they're wide around the court, you hit it right in the middle, and then there's confusion of who gets it or who's closest to it. So,
do you have a game plan going in as far as where you want to place it, or is it kind of an in-match adjustment based on what you're seeing, or do you kind of know what you're going to see from the opposition?
I think it depends. A lot of times, we saw this against Whitewater, is they do scout, so they know where your strongest swing is. But I think as a hitter, it's how can you move past that?
Mm-hmm.
So Whitewater was really taking away my line, and so was Edgewood when we played Edgewood. They set up a really good block, and at that point, if they're taking away my line and my strong swing, then you can either use that to your advantage, so you just swing off hands, and that's where you get your tool block, or you can just drum it right down, deep cross, and most of the time it's a really hard shot to take unless you read it, or there's also sharp, which is great as well. So
right now, you're second on the team in total kills. You've had some big kill performances. You're number 3 on the team in service aces and some big ace performances. Are you pleased with how your season's developed? Obviously, you're one of those players that's taken on a much bigger role. Are you pleased with how your game's developed over the course of this season?
Yeah, I think Carly's really held me to a standard of there's no really rolling over and dying, and I'm not the person to hold my, I need to hold myself accountable. And obviously, yes, there's been good spurts, but I also need to realize that there's always more to improve. It's hard to not be obviously it's easier to look at the negatives than the positive, but I think I have greatly improved, especially since last year because of Carly and because of my teammates always pushing me to stay accountable. So I think, I don't know, I'm always someone who's striving to get better, and I think that's just my plan for this next week. Just be better for my teammates, be better for my coaches, be better for this conference tournament, because we're going to have to go full steam ahead.
Is there one part of your game that you're really focused on?
I think becoming more shoddy. So instead of swinging, adding a little tip or roll. I used to be really good at that, but then I just started swinging. And so now I'm getting kind of readjusting that back into my gameplay, because I think in moments there's times to swing and in moments there's times to put a tip down or use a roll, and I think that's going to make my offense a lot more efficient.
Thinking about your volleyball career for a moment, when did you start playing the sport, and I guess what's your earliest memory of volleyball?
I started playing the sport freshman year, seriously, in high school. And
so nothing really before that?
No, nothing much. Besides, maybe, I think I played a little bit in 8th grade.
Okay.
So, my earliest memory, I had a lot of fun freshman year. I was on JV my first year, and the class above me was just so fun to play with, and those girls were really awesome. So I think that was super fun, and my varsity coach for high school volleyball was also really amazing. She's probably all of those coaches are actually my biggest mentors. I watch their kids now, and they're just super awesome and great women to be around, and they really set a standard for me.
So what prompted you to go out and play volleyball at the high school level then?
Nobody in my family had ever really played volleyball besides my aunt. She played at Carroll when she was in college, and nobody else really touched the game. And all the other sports, all my other siblings, I have 6 siblings.
Oh, wow.
So there's a lot of different sports that they covered, and volleyball was one that I was just like, okay, I'm going to pick it, and I'm going to be good at it. So
how was that growing up with 6 siblings?
Oh, it was so fun. It was the best. I love having a big family. There's never a dull moment in our house, so it's super fun. A lot of them or 3 of my older siblings are grown up and out of the house. One of them's married. So it's tough not being able to see them, but a lot of them, because I'm close to home, they're able to come watch me. So it's always good to see them.
So you guys have your own volleyball team at home plus the libero.
Yeah.
For you, when did you decide you wanted to come to Concordia, and was volleyball on the table?
I think that was my freshman year, actually, when I started playing. Not Concordia necessarily, but my dad was like, you're either all in or you're not. And because club was a big factor, I mean, it's a big financial obligation. So it's one of those things where you either have to be all in or you're not. And I kind of took that as, okay, this is going to be my sport. I need to put a lot of time and a lot of effort, start lifting a lot so I can get better. So I think that was the moment where I was like, okay, I want to play in college. When I decided, I always remember because my brother came here for baseball for his final 2 years, and I was like, oh, I don't want to go to Concordia because my brother was there, and a lot of the professors knew him because we're in the same major. So I was like, oh, I don't really want to do that. And then I talked to Janelle, who was the coach before, and she was just really awesome. And I also stayed over. I had an overnight stay, and the girls were just really awesome, and I just loved them a lot. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm coming here, and I wanted to be close to home and be able to see my family because that's really important to me. So I guess that was the deciding factor senior year. It's like, oh, this is really awesome. I love the girls. Let's go do this thing.
What is your major?
I'm finance, and I'm getting my master's of business administration in finance as well.
Now, from a volleyball standpoint for you, what was the biggest change going from Kettle Moraine Lutheran to Concordia Volleyball?
I think the biggest thing is being a leader in high school and then coming here, and it's a different. I hadn't really made my footprint yet, so a different person was leader. It kind of just adjusting to that role. Like, I'm very vocal, and I like to not necessarily be leader, but I want to be able to pick my teammates up. So I think that was finding a new role in the way that I can lead my team.
Well, in the here and now, as you try to lead the team here inside the John Book Fieldhouse tonight, a NAC tournament quarterfinal against the Lakeland University Muskies. That's a 4-5 season matchup. You guys saw Lakeland here back on September 20th, knocked off the Muskies in 4 sets. The Falcons have beaten Lakeland in 12 consecutive, but when you look back at that matchup on September 20th, what do you remember about that get-together? What do you expect from Lakeland tonight?
I think they're going to be putting a fire under their butts, and they're just going to want to go and beat us. We have a very big target on our back. They have a really good outside hitter that really knows what she's doing. She likes to hit hard. And I think as blockers and our defense needs to know, like, we got to put those balls up and we got to be just as aggressive back towards them. Like, we need to put a target on their back as well and just know that we can beat them. We know how to beat them. We've done it before, but not staying cocky and be like,
Sure.
oh, we beat them. Like, we need to put the work in. We need to put our heads down and just drive.
And to piggyback off that, to wrap things up, obviously you take it one match at a time. You don't look past Lakeland. But if this team is to make a serious run at winning a NAC tournament championship, in your opinion, what needs to happen?
I think we just got to be really mentally tough. Like, there's moments where there's highs and there's lows, and I think it's just one of those things where we need to be steady and not be super high, super low. Obviously, it's good to be super high, but there's sometimes where it's too much and you need to be almost level-headed through it. Obviously, it's good to have energy, but we don't want to be, like, all the way up here and then all of a sudden just drop because we missed 2 points. Like, we want to be able to come high and then stay here and just kind of cruise.
Well, Stella, all the best to you and your teammates tonight.
Thank you.
And cheering for the Falcons. And again, inside the John Book Fieldhouse, you can see them live and in person at 7 o'clock versus the Lakeland University Muskies, a NAC tournament quarterfinal. When we come back, our focus will shift to women's hockey. They have a matchup against the Eau Claire Blue Gold as well. That's coming up tonight from the Ozaki Ice Center at 7:15. Puck drop, and we'll talk with one of their seniors, the elder of the team, back for her 5th year. That's goaltender Annalena Van Herking, assistant captain. This is Falcon Focus, presented by Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin.
If you could make one wish, any wish, what would it be? Would you wish for more money? A better career? Fame? Or would you use your wish to make a difference in someone else's life? At Concordia University, we believe God intended us to live for something bigger than ourselves, to live boldly, faithfully. And with online programs at Concordia University, we're here to help you do that. Live uncommon.
Welcome back to Falcon Focus, presented by Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin, episode number 7 here in season number 5. And on to segment number 2, and our focus on women's hockey, coming off a 1-2 week against a very good Aurora team and being joined by a veteran, and that being, what do they call you? What's your nickname?
Van Hockey. That's a
Van
big one.
Hockey.
Yes.
Okay, there you go. That works. Annalena Van Herking back for her 5th year at the program, assistant captain, the goaltender of the Falcon women's hockey team. And take us through this past week. Okay, you guys played Aurora in a non-conference game, then you played the Spartans back-to-back in NCHA competition on Thursday and Saturday. It seemed like you guys got better and better as those 3 games passed.
Yeah, definitely. It's weird schedule starting off playing them in a non-conference game and then back-to-back conference games after that. But that first game on Tuesday, not the way anyone wants to start a game, losing 7-0. But then being able to bounce back 2 days later, a closer game with them, a close competition, and then winning on Saturday was huge for us because we haven't beat that team since my freshman year. I was looking before this. It was preseason game, we beat them like 5-1, and then conference games my freshman year, we split them, won the first one, lost the second one. I'm like, ever since then, it's been nothing. So it's been really good, just the group that we have together and how much that, like, conference points that meant for us, for sure.
Yeah, how were you guys able to overcome that loss on Tuesday with that quick, as you mentioned, a quick turnaround? You played in a conference setting on Thursday, but to quickly forget about that and start fresh.
Yeah, I think it really kind of bounces back on our team chemistry and our culture and everything. Like, we were a really tight-knit group. We've done a lot of team building earlier this year with a lot of freshmen coming in. It's really important to emphasize that team culture and to stay positive, because you go down that first game, it's really easy to be like, wow, this is how this year is going to be. It's not going to be a good year. And we were able just to bounce back that practice, forget about what happens, learn from our mistakes. In reality, that first game it wasn't us. Like, kind of getting used to the pace and everything, and we just focused on our game, working hard, and focused on what we could control, really.
You mentioned team bonding. I understand you guys had a camping trip at some point. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it was the first time we did it, and I don't know why we haven't done it every year. It was so much fun. Concordia campus up north, a little property right on the lake, beautiful property. We had some rain, which is a little bit of a bummer, but we were able to get on the kayaks a little bit. We played some like camp games that you played as a kid. Sure. We split up the meal groups, and it was honestly a fun time, like sitting around the campfire, talking to people that you haven't talked to normally, because where you're at school, you do school classes, you see them in the hallway, you'll see them at the rink, but you don't really get to have those conversations with some of the people, especially the freshmen, and I feel like that really increased our team chemistry right off the dot, just because we got to have that unique experience together over the weekend.
It sounds like a lot of fun, and as mentioned throughout the course of the week, just the success of this team building and building and building, and finally getting over that hump on Saturday with the 3-2 overtime victory. A matchup that would see Aurora tie the game late. And again, talking about mental toughness, how did you guys again overcome? Okay, so Aurora ties the game up, end of the third period, going to overtime. How were you guys able to sway momentum back in the Falcons' direction?
Yeah, I'll say that was hard, because we were like winning the whole game 2-0. Like, they were out shooting us, but we were competing, and then to let them slip right then at the end, I'll say I was not happy when that happened. Like, that's the last thing you want to do, is work hard all game, and then that slips up. But I think kind of the same theme all week, just forget about it and work hard. 3-on-3 is all possession. You try to possess it. I believe they only had the one breakaway opportunity in overtime. Otherwise, we possessed the puck the whole time, right from the face-off. And so it was really just focusing on it. And then the OT winner from Amanda Bauer, that was just all a grind. She came out that shift. She was able to stop a 2-on-0 breakaway, take it in zone, shoot 5-hole like she does every time in practice. So it was really just kind of just forgetting about it and working hard.
I was going to ask you about the Amanda Bauer game order, 2-11 in overtime, and your view of the goal from what you saw.
Yeah, I mean, she does it in practice. That's her move. But we were talking about it. She done it in shootout against Marion before we went to shootout against them. I believe it was last year, first game. It ended up being a 1-1 tie, but we did a shootout, and she did the same exact move. It's kind of a move that people don't expect sometimes, but yeah, she grinded off the boards, got that puck, single effort. Aurora had their second string goalie in due to injury. She came in the third, caught her off guard, and was able to sneak it in. And I just had pure excitement in that moment. I think I skated past her. She went through the handshake line, was going to come to me, and I was already past her by the team bench by the time she got there.
So did you see the puck go in, or did you see the celebration?
I saw the puck go in. I knew the second she had out her stick, I was like, 5-hole, 5-hole, 5-hole.
Your performance, you had 57 saves, and obviously you never want to see a goal go by, but when you're getting peppered at time with shots, so it's one of those bend but not break, and you did all you could. 57 saves, phenomenal performance. Were you pleased with how you played? Is that a confidence boost? Not that you necessarily need it, because I know you have the numbers to back it up, you have the skill set, but does that help at all from a confidence standpoint, a performance like that?
Yeah, it definitely does help. Especially, I mean, I'll say last week was definitely an emotional week. You had I got pulled after 2 periods with the 6 goals, and then being able to bounce back against the same team and stop 57 of those 59 shots, that's a great confident booster. Just from a team I played so many times, you kind of get the emotions in it after you play with a team that so many times in a week. But yeah, those games are my favorite. A ton of shots, you're not thinking. The shots come so fast, you're just reacting. Unlike when you have those slower paced games when a shot comes maybe every couple minutes. It's a lot more pressure, a lot more emotions. These games, you're simply just stopping a puck, and it's a lot more fun, and it is a big confident booster for sure.
And you mentioned beating Aurora for the first time since January 24th of 2020, the game that counts toward the conference. Standing snap in an 11-game skid to the Spartans as a team. Speaking of confidence, this has got to be a big confidence booster, too, knowing that, hey, you guys were right there Thursday. You get the win Saturday. Aurora's expected to be among the who's who in the NCHA. is there a belief now that, hey, we can compete with the who's who in this conference? This could be
Yeah.
a good season.
No, there definitely is. And I think that was a good, indicator. Those are 2 points that are huge just during conference
Mhm.
because our big goal this year is that we want home ice for playoffs. So that's top 4. To get top 4, you need to win all the games of teams that are below you and steal points from people above you. So stealing those 2 points early in the season is huge. We have Lake Forest this weekend. It'll be another huge points because we were just ranked 1 point above them in preseason. So it's very important to make sure you're beating the teams that you can beat and stealing the ones that you might be a little lower from skill level-wise.
And we know when you look at the preseason poll, this is a Falcon team expected to be right there, making some noise, and then to see the results now coming in, especially after this weekend, big plus now going into this another huge week. Last winter, the Falcons made some noise by setting a program record with 14 wins, 9 of which came in conference play. How do you go about summarizing last season? How can you, I guess, take those experiences, that success, and carry it over?
Yeah, I mean, last season we had a pretty fairly young team. Our sophomore class is our biggest class. We only lost 3 players going into this season, so we have a lot of returners and kind of those people that we have in our team. They're growing in the game. They're getting more comfortable, more confident, and growing off their successes of last year. We can build on it this year. It's hard when you lose all my class. You have Emily Reimke, Colleen Gilligan, Allie Iden, Bella Noyle, and you lose all those people, and those were leaders in the locker room, leaders on the ice. So I think trying to find those leaders again this year have been kind of our challenge during preseason, but after this past week, we kind of settled a little more into our game and build off our skills that we obviously proved last year and hopefully continue that this year.
Looking quickly at one matchup last year against St. Benedict, you broke the program record with a 61 save performance. That was on almost a year ago, November 5th of 2022. Have you ever seen so many shots come at you at any one point throughout your hockey life? And how do you go about just, staying in that moment? Because I got to believe at some point you just got to battle the fatigue of just left, right, up, down, dive in every which direction, trying to stop that biscuit.
Yeah, it seems like with games like that, they come in waves. There'll be some games where it's just a shot, but with those, normally the most of them will come on a power play opportunity. And those you're like, okay, this is 2 minutes where I am going to be absolutely bagged, and you rely on the conditioning that you did over summer. You know that I'm in shape. You just got to not think about it, honestly, because you're just going to have to work the hardest you can for these next 2 minutes. And I think I said the word work probably 60 times during the game on Saturday to all my team. When we got that 5-minute major, I was like, we just have to work. A girl on my team looked at me and was like, we have a 5-minute major to kill off. And I was like, it's fine. All we're going to have to do is work through it, and it'll be perfectly fine. So games like that, when you have the 50-plus saves, 50-plus shots, it's really just a mental. You have the physical aspect of it, but in reality, you've done all the training, you're in shape. You wouldn't be in this position if you didn't put all the work in. And in that point, you can't think about how much work you're putting in. You just have to focus on, for me, just watching the puck, playing my game. I always take it one shot at a time.
You referenced it. You played and have been with this Falcon program since 2019-20 season. Your teammates call you the grandma of the team, the elder of the team, if you will, the experienced netminder of the team. You were NCHL freshman that first season. From that year to now, when you look back at your game, when you look back at how you've developed as a player, how do you feel like you've grown? How have you improved between the pipes from day one to now at the collegiate level?
It's kind of weird because when you're going through the seasons, you don't think about it until last year and then this year. I'm like, wow, it's been 5 seasons that I've been with this program, and throughout my life I've never been with a program for that long. So it was kind of cool to be able to have that development and look back playing the same teams and the same level. And the biggest thing, I have always had my fundamentals of skating, my athleticism and everything, but really the confidence with playing the puck, having that strength to get across the crease faster and making those saves, the ones that I steal, and kind of develop me in my game with that. Fibula always kind of has the different levels of goaltenders. You get to a level where you're stopping the pucks that you have to stop, stopping the pucks that are a little outside your reach, and then you're making those saves that we never expect you to make, but you're building that momentum for the team and you're helping us get those big wins. So kind of getting that development over the years have been amazing, and it really does come with the confidence level. You worked on your foundation to get to this level. Once you've seen the same level shots for 4 years, it's just the confidence. You're like, I know what this is. It's just playing my game and not having that mental battle with yourself at that point.
And in your career, you've played in 60 games with 57 starts. Obviously, we hope the best is yet to come, but is there a game or two or performance or two that you look back at from the first 60, you go, boy, that really stands out in my time with the Falcons?
I have like different memories. I mean, we talked about it with Aurora because this was a big game, especially for our sophomore class, because they have never, they're juniors now. Well, actually, sorry, junior class now, but they have never beat Aurora in their time. It's their third year here, so that was a big one for them. I look back to the Adrian game when we won 2-1 against them. That was a huge game. Personally, because every time we play Adrian, it's a battle. I've had times when we've lost to them 9-1, and I've been in net for all 9. So beating them 2-1, it's just like it's more of a victory for that. But I think freshman year, we used to say this year we're not playing St. Ben's, but we always play St. Ben's each year. Freshman year, I had a January game, which was kind of one of my first games. It was like a lot of saves, a lot of big saves. For me as a freshman, that was a huge confidence booster. We had some girls from Colorado. There was a goalie on the other team that I played with growing up. So it was kind of like a big game where it was like a lot of saves in that high-paced game. So I think that one stands out for my freshman year, but just little bits and pieces from each year I always will remember.
You're one of the assistant captains here this season. What does that mean to you? What does that all entail?
It's been a huge honor. Coach Favilli has told me since my freshman year and the whole team that he would never give a goalie a letter. That was just one of his philosophies. I understood it.
Sure.
So after my senior year, I just talked to him about wanting to be involved, being a natural leader, just being on the team for so long, being in my position. I've kind of developed that leadership, but I really wanted to wear that letter on my jersey, wear it with pride. And so when I was given the opportunity to accept that position, it's been something, been very grateful. We have a great leadership group with Brooke Gibson being the captain, Amanda Bauer, assistant, and Savannah Hutchins being assistant as well. So between all of us with different leadership styles, we work really well. And it's just nice being able to have that position on a team that the girls can look up, and then even being able to talk to the refs more on the ice and just having a little more responsibility has been really good.
Break down this team, because you talk about Brooke Gibson, obviously Amanda Bauer, some proven scorers among others that are back. You reference the large junior class this team currently has. And then you have freshmen that have already emerged, and there are 5 that have recorded points already the first now 3 games. What does this team look like, in your opinion, the blend of experience and youth, and how do you see this season shaking out?
Yeah, I'm really excited for the season. We have our freshmen coming in. They already look more confident. Having Ella get her first goal on Saturday, that was a huge first goal. You can see it in practice. You can see the skill level. They compete with the older girls and everything. You know that, especially as they get more deep in this program, how good they're going to be in 1 year, 2 years. But I'm really excited to kind of see how this year progress. I feel like we have a really good chance of making it far in the season, with hopefully breaking that record of 14 wins last year and then going further in playoffs as well.
A busy week last week with 3 games, another busy week this week with 3 games. Been tonight at the Ozaki Ice, and you can see the Falcon women's hockey team in person. Number 9, UW Eau Claire in town. Puck drop at 7:15, and then the home against Lake Forest. Home against the Foresters on Friday at 7. Saturday at Lake Forest at 7:30. Your thoughts on the week ahead?
Another long week. I mean, we never had a schedule when it was 6 games in 2 weeks, so it's a little bit of a rough start with these good teams, but I'm excited for tonight. It's always fun playing Eau Claire. We beat them last year. I believe it was 4-3, tight game, so that was a super exciting win for us because last year they were ranked, I think, 5th in the nation, so it's always a good competition. Skilled team, but I think it will be good competition for us. And then looking ahead at Lake Forest, last year we got the cup for the first time with our little border battle, so hopefully be able to win that back-to-back years and get some big conference points this weekend as well.
I want to ask you, too, real fast. Off the ice, hockey's a big part of your life. You've had some great opportunities, internships, jobs. You have. Tell us about some of those experiences.
Yeah, so my major is marketing and sports management with minor in communications. So after this year, I'm really looking to work in sports, ideally hockey. I go back and forth between social media marketing and then the hockey operations side. I've had 2 summers with USA Hockey in the hockey development department, unreal experiences, working with some great people at USA Hockey, and then also being able to, I did those national camps growing up, so it was kind of cool being on the business side of things. And then this year I'm working with the Janesville Jets doing social media and game day with them, so that's a cool experience. My first time working with a team, being able to do the social media at games before my season and everything. So it's kind of, I'm excited. I'm enjoying this year, but I'm really excited for next year when I get to continue my passion for sports in the professional world as well.
All the best with all of that, and obviously all the best during this hockey season. We'll be cheering for the Falcons, and you can see them in person tonight at 7:15, and again Friday at 7 o'clock, Eau Claire and Lake Forest from the Ozaki Ice Center. Annalena, thanks for joining us. Great to have her on, not during COVID and without a mask.
Yeah, I know.
That's a
long
big
time
plus.
ago, yeah.
Yes. Thanks to the veteran goaltender for the Falcon women's hockey team. We also thank Stella Zarling for joining us during the first segment as women's volleyball gets their NAC tournament journey started tonight against the Lakeland University Muskies. And, of course, thank you for joining us for Falcon Focus presented by Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin.